Man, let me sneak up here. It's been a chilling morning for a couple reasons. First of all, let's get into practical chilling, although they're both practically chilling. Getting ready to fire my crossbow this morning. Full draw. I have the reinforcing sinew wraps. They should be dry enough. I made a new string, although I should have made a 20 strand string instead of a 16, because I'm having a devil of a time with stretch, although it'll be enough. I have my bolts. Check this out. And I know what you're saying. I would say it too. That these are like horrible. The paint on these things are horrible. But I did it intentionally. They're heavy. Those 200 grain bodkins, I believe they're 200 grain. About 1,200 grains a piece for these things. I refer to them as clowns. There's nothing more spine-chilling than a clown, so why not paint them like clowns? I'm also a fan of World War I airplanes, and so I could also refer to this as my flying circus, an homage to Manfred von Richthofen. So I have to go out and I need to find some plywood, make a target, 1/2-inch plywood, devastate that 1/2-inch plywood target. Getting up the nerve to draw this bad boy. Oh, heck of a thing. I promise I'm not gonna talk during my video. It's just gonna be setting it up and shooting 5 rounds just uninterrupted. And probably have the camera down near the target so you can hear the whap and see me drawing it. So that is that. This is chilling because I don't know if it's going to blow up in my face. Chances are not. I figure that the damage done to the target is going to be worse than the potential damage to me, so I'm going to use my fighting spirit to just draw that without worrying about it. Second chilling thing. I have a particular demographic in my audience. And most of you, I would hazard to say, are like, what the heck is going on? The track of our universe, our country, is like, it's spiraling a drain. How'd this happen to be? Well, your homework, because it's best to know, where did that shot come from? Who pulled that trigger? What's going on here? Is I want you to just multiple sources. I'll have a link on this if I can figure out how to do it, to one of his interviews. Yuri Bezmenov. He was a former KGB operative. I think his last year of service with the Ruskies was in 1986, and he has an amazing blueprint for what is happening exactly today, where we're going. Yuri Bezmenov. As he said, the true goal of war, according to Sun Tzu, 3,500 years ago or whatever, is to beat your enemy without firing a shot. The true art of war is subversion, and that doesn't mean sneaking out of a factory with blueprints or blowing up a bridge. The true victory is in subversion and changing the mindset and the behavior of your combatants so you don't need to fire a shot. Yuri Bezmenov, you owe it to yourself. You need to listen to Yuri Bezmenov's interviews. It is just from demoralization to the final throes of you have converted a nation without firing a shot. Well, that is all. Next time you see me, you won't be hearing me. A lot of you are saying, yay. You will be seeing my crossbow speak for me. A little bit of target shooting. Now, I think of things like, what would I have done? Who would I have been if I was born 10,000 years ago, 5,000 years ago? If I was born 500 years ago, 6, 7, whatever, 8, 9.5, into pages of European history, what would I have been? Would I have been marching across the field with a sword? Would I have been a farmer? Would I have been this or that? I would have probably been a weapons designer or a military engineer figuring out how to bring castle walls down. And this is a point. I watch Todd stuff. I do. I mean, I'm railing against steel-prodded crossbows. You know, this has the performance pound for pound so much better just because it has a longer stroke. But I really enjoy watching Todd stuff because it's historically accurate. And I watched this last one. He was testing a steel-prodded crossbow. I don't know what it was, 500-600 pounds, which mine has better performance. And he was talking about the heads. He said there was a limit to how big they could be before it started steering the bolt, making it impossible to shoot. But I'm looking at it, remembering that these things didn't have feather vanes. And this thing could have a complete pass-through of a target. And since these are stiff, I mean, how wicked and horrible would that be if you just have like the little pointy end just to carry the shaft through? If the actual cutting edges were on these, I would never do it. But I can still, my mind takes me to that place because I am me. What would happen if you fit single edge razor blades on these things and suddenly you have a cutting diameter, and I could make these things bigger, of 4 inches or 5 inches, 3 of them passing through a target. That would be truly wicked, and this thing could do a passer easily. Well, I brought you some things to think about. Don't cry for me, Argentina. I will draw this thing 5 times full draw and shoot into my plywood target. Second of all, Yuri Bezmenov, do it. Do it. Find a time. Don't find a time. Make the time. Listen to Yuri Bezmenov's one of his interviews. And third of all, what would you do if you were born 500 years ago? Who would you have been in the cog of that great machine? What would your purpose been? I'll tell you one thing. If I was being back in time, the first thing I would do is I would extend this to a 10-foot long prod and put this on a wheeled cart. That would be badass. That's me cranking it back. Actually, there's a thing called Art Prize in Grand Rapids, Michigan, USA. It's an art program or an art contest where you can make these ridiculous sculptures, enter a prize. I think the first prize is like $500,000, so that's motivation enough. It's always been my dream to increase this thing to like a 10 to 15 foot long prod on a wooden cart. I don't know if I could demonstrate it. It would probably take down a building, but wouldn't that be cool? Anyway, have a good one, and thank you for listening. I give you credit if you made it through the entire video.